In the Michael Brown case, which happened on Saturday last week, it's now Friday, the media and the cops came up with this absurd, idiotic claim that Michael Brown stole cigars at a convenience store. Well, why would it take them a week to make that claim? They didn't have to tell the name of the officer, just to say, well, he was a suspect in a robbery, when his associate, his colleague, his friend, Johnson, said right on the news, right in front of the camera, that they had cigarillos. Why would this kid, if he stole these cigarillos, even mention cigarillos? But he did. So they can't possibly prove, if in fact they had cigarillos, which I presume they did because the kid said they did, that they didn't buy them. They can't possibly prove that this was a robbery, that they robbed cigarillos or cigars or anything. When you go into a store to buy candy or cigars, stuff like that, you don't keep a receipt. Nobody would. Okay? So now that this whole deal is we're gonna find something here. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. This cop wasn't even involved in that so-called probably bullshit story in the first place. He was just driving down the street telling them to get onto the sidewalk. That was all that cop was doing. And he had nothing to do with if in fact there actually was any robbery at some convenience store. It's because that was a whole different cop. So why didn't they say that? Because they're liars. Anybody that believes the cops about anything and believes that there's any kind of justice, especially after Rodney King, when we all saw him get his head bashed in by 4 cops, where they had a whole bunch of cops just watching it. It was like well, let's watch this guy get his head bashed in. And we're going to just allow these 4 cops to do it. And then we're going to find a way to get him out in another court by this Judge Weisberg, a real scumbag judge, Stanley Weisberg. Okay, using a black prosecutor, right? And what about Zimmerman? Because Zimmerman was acquitted based on the fact that the jurors went on TV and said the judge prevented them from convicting Zimmerman. Had nothing to do with stand your ground. So why can't these people get their stories straight? Why do they cook up this stand your ground nonsense, which never occurred, period? And the fact that Zimmerman had made 46 consecutive calls about nothing, claiming there was all kinds of crimes being committed, but every single time the cops came, there was never a victim or any kind of factual situation that indicated that Zimmerman was really reporting any crime, including Trayvon Martin, who was just coming back from the store. He looks suspicious. You're going to tell me that in 3 seconds you can look at anybody and claim, oh, they're suspicious. 3, 4, 5 seconds. They're suspicious. Really. And then run around the building and attack the guy. Right? And he gets knocked down. Zimmerman gets knocked down after he attacked Trayvon Martin, who did not know there was a gun, because there was DNA on the gun that they proved that there was nothing from Trayvon on the gun. And now we have a cop who shoots this kid Well, let's see the pictures of this cop's body that prove there was any kind of an attack on him physically. Because there wasn't. Period. This cop is crazy as a bedbug, just like Zimmerman. And they're all liars. They constantly lie. Because if this thing really had anything to do with a robbery, they would have said that right off the bat. Okay? They're not going to wait a week to claim some kind of a robbery going on that this guy Michael Brown was part of. Okay? It took him a week to come up with that. What a bunch of crap. And the media is right. They are part of this deal. This cop should be nailed by the FBI for murdering this kid. Instead, he's getting a paycheck. They're covering this cop up, which is what they do every time. What about the guy in Staten Island selling cigarettes? Did they, oh, well, they weren't taxed. Really? How come they weren't taxed? Because this guy had to go to the store and buy a pack of cigarettes, and then he sells one at a time. What's the crime? No crime. No crime. You understand? How did this guy get the cigarettes in Staten Island that weren't taxed? What a pile of crap. Okay? So that's supposed to justify killing this guy because they claim he was selling cigarettes that weren't taxed. A pure lie by these cops. They constantly lie. The courts lie. Right? What about the rape of the woman in the hotel by Strauss-Kahn? Right? You think that the New York police are actually going to stop a plane leaving the airport to grab this guy without knowing for an absolute fact that this woman was raped, and then come up with this horse shit about whether she was involved in some crap in Africa? And even if she was, what did that have to do? Well, then he could rape her. Strauss-Kahn could just rape her because of some baloney in Africa. Yeah. That's what they do every time. Every time, just like now. Oh yeah, he robbed cigars or cigarillos. So, you think Dorian Johnson is going to start talking about the cigarillos if they stole them? Of course not. Of course not. How ridiculous these people are. Keep going. Keep on going, bro.